So, Emily, would you like to give us your voice?
Sure, yeah.
Great. So this is one of our key page in on the path of Golden XPR, and it's all yours. What I will ask you is to read it slowly, speaking of I can wait, and to make certain that you completely feel what you read. If you stop feeling it, if you go somewhere else, then stop and reread the same sentence. As for the fractal, enough for now to say that we're looking at the complementarity of violence versus peace, peace versus violence. So first is the creation of violence in 6 days, and then the creation of peace in 6 days. Okay? So,
Yeah.
all yours when you're ready.
Yeah. Why understanding? Because understanding myself and therefore being able to clearly express why I once chose to do harm is understanding everyone and everything. That makes sense. That's wisdom. So, such sentence or such sentience is also what guides me on the path to transformation. Yeah. Yeah.
Lovely.
Do you want to go through the fractal or go to the paragraph below?
If just one thing I will make you aware of in terms of the peace fractal,
Yeah.
is number one is inquiry. That's where it starts.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can be aware of what motivates me moment by moment, then that will make a huge difference in my ability to wait. So inquiry is number one. Then number two is surrender. And when I am surrendered, then I meditate. Like, in other words, while there is no such thing as a bad meditations, when I am surrendered, the meditation is much easier. I'm sure you all experience that. So first I inquire, that leads me to surrender. Then I can actually meditate. Then I'm not trying as hard to numb myself by eating what I'm not supposed to be eating. And then I can have sex with life and or a partner because there's no heaviness in my space. There's no I shouldn't have. I'm readily available to have an intercourse with life. And then I keep on stretching, I keep on uniting the male, the female, the moon, the sun in me. So that's how this works. Again, the love code or the solid code starts here, jumps there, and goes backward, versus the liquid code. First, I can't read myself, then I become fanatical, then I rape myself, then I starve myself, then I start yelling, and now I'm in a constant fight. So that's violence versus peace. Any insights from you, Emily?
Recently it just clicked for me, the idea of moving through the fractal from step to step. I kind of had the approach that I could skip to the end by just surrendering immediately, and I struggled to have a lasting change in that process. So taking it step by step, going from surrender into meditation into dieting, like that, taking it step by step.
Lovely music to my ears. Thank you, Emily. Lovely, lovely experience.
Thank you. So inquiry and surrender are the only two keys given toward enlightenment. Yeah. makes sense. Either option, provided it is practiced in totality, opens me to peace immediately. Yeah. So either inquiry or surrender opens me to peace immediately if practiced in totality.
Yeah.
My work is to complete my inquiry and have full understanding of my desire to do harm. To complete my inquiry and have full understanding of my desire to do harm. Yeah. When I do, the surrender of my free will is matter of fact. Yeah, so does that mean surrendering my free will to just free will in general? The universe's will?
Yeah, surrendering my will.
Okay. Cool.
You know, it's like another way to say it is I don't take anything personally. It's not about me anymore.
Okay, yeah. This may be how inquiry was announced as a first key by Buddha and surrender as a second key by Jesus.
Yeah.
This
So
makes sense.
it seems as if history has followed the way, or our fractal would be more good to say it that way. The peace fractal follows the way of history. First, Buddha's inquiry, second, Jesus' surrender.
Yeah, and I get that both inquiry and surrender would need to be practiced, right? In different,
Yes, yes. They're like the odd couple. If you remember when we looked at element, they were going in pairs. So air and earth is one pair, fire and water is another pair, and wood and ether is another pair. So ether, inquiry, wood, surrender. That's a pair. They go together.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, because what we looked at in the starting of this session was the 6 days of awe, corresponding the elements to the instrument is true for every fractal and creation in 6 days. So at the level of ether and the voice, I inquire. What's at the level of spirit and wood, I surrender. At the level of fire and heart, I meditate. I mean, the whole of meditation is create coherence between your heart and your brain. It's all about feeling the heart and being in the heart. Then obviously, earth and body with dieting, that's quite clear. Then salt and water for sex. Then mind and air metal for yoga. So each single time, it's not a coincidence if this is where it is. And the more I understand that one is one and why ether is one, that two is two and why spirit or wood is two, and three is fire and why and corresponded. Oh, of course, meditating is going into the fire, obviously. And the more I see those correspondence, how accurate they are, the more I rest into the fact that the word was actually created in 6 stages. The word, my story. And the more I am able to be silent, which, of course, that's the ultimate stillness.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Lovely.
Um,
Okay.
I could I ask a question real quick? Related to that explanation, how does that help like translate into practicality? Like the fractals feel pretty practical, but the explanation as they relate to the elements, I'm unclear as to how that is that like tying into the storytelling of narratives like the Bible?
Well, I will tell you my answer, and we can ask Michael for his answer too. For me, doing shadow work is a little bit like being a clown and taking scars out of um, my garment. You know, it's never ending. There's always another scarf that comes out of the sleeve of that clown. Okay. And in exploring shadow, there's always another quote unquote crime. So the question soon becomes, I ask by the ego, is that ever going to be over? I mean, am I on a hopeless quest here to go for looking for myself? I mean, it's hopeless. So what the fractal give me is faith or certainty that there is a system that makes complete sense, that explains everything that I need to understand, and that leads me to making the choice of peace little by little by little, because it's faultless. It works at every level. So that's my answer. Does it resonate with you, Emily?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
might make a comment, Maha.
Of course, I was going to ask you, I was just, yes, I definitely wanted your input on that question.
To the question of how do elements relate and why are they potentially worth paying attention to, and what is the relationship to narrative, I would say that when I really take on the idea that the entire cosmos is alive and that the cosmos, including the earth and the crystals and the trees and my communication and my job and my family, is all at some level a reflection of communication, then I can begin to relate to language with the elements that comprise the universe. Ether that comprises the quantum field, fire, earth, metal, water, wood. These elements make up things that, quote unquote, are the visible and invisible universe. So it really grounds the narrative in a way of totality. That would be how I would speak it. And as to your point, Maha, it gives confidence to know that there's something that actually resonates with the way in which nature has been described by science and religion.
Exactly. Thank you much, Michael. Yes. So
Awesome.
there is a great practicality to what seems like an intellectual exercise. It's way more than that. I would say it's a sensorial exercise to really feel how the trees and wood as an element is a modeling of surrender. You know, the trees are not saying, well, maybe next year I'm going to give up my leaves. Maybe next year I'll die, but today, no, I still want to hold on to my stuff. And no, the whole of nature and of the vegetal kingdom and the trees is all about surrender. That's what they're modeling. So, yes, lovely to tie it to the cosmos. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, thank you. That puts it into perspective in a different experiential way. So here is a truth difficult to hear and understand. Complete 100% nullification of the ego, whether it is done through inquiry or surrender, is the prerequisite to transcend destiny. So I think that makes sense. Like just taking the ego out of our equation, following completely in the heart and love code.
Yeah.
It removes this negative destiny that we build for ourselves.
Yeah. Actually becoming no one, nobody, nothing, nowhere, no time, no intention, no meaning. That's what total nullification of the ego looks like.
Awesome. Yeah, okay, cool.
Mhm.
So with inquiry, upon encountering any problem, I can ask myself why I judge my problem as bad until I realize that only the ego is bound by judgments and the ego is non-existent. As long as I judge this or that to be no good, I will resist it, which says that my understanding is not complete. I think so. I'm judging things to be bad because the ego is bound by judgment and
Yeah.
the ego is non-existent. I'm just curious, like, so with the ego being non-existent, why do I experience the ego if it's non-existent?
Because you're attached. You see,
Oh,
to actually be nobody, I would have to let go of the anger and the fears and all of what I've become addicted to.
okay. That's yeah.
Now, the other way to look at it is there are times when we are no one, nobody, nothing. Like, for example, if you look at a starry sky and you are awed by the beauty and the magnificence of what is above you and surrounds you, in that moment, you're not an ego.
Okay.
Your
Yeah.
ego doesn't exist. You know, if you have a psychedelic experience, you don't have an ego. You're experiencing what it feels like not to have an ego.
Okay.
A question. How does the ego pertain? So, would the ego be equivalent to a personality, like being way too invested in your own personality? Is that what
Mhm.
it is? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and taking things personally to tie it back to what we were speaking earlier.
That's what a persona is. It's a mask.
Yeah, exactly. From the Latin persona, for mask.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's
of
enlightening.
course, of course.
I need to go read the dictionary, it feels like. The Latin one.
And so the ego is built on a lot of resistance, and then surrender. I can admit my powerlessness and say at all times, not my will, thy will be done, giving up all sense of I and mine and leaving it to the universe to do as it pleases with me. As long as I desire this or that, I am not surrendered. Surrender is loving love for the sake of love and nothing else, not even for the sake of liberation.
Talk about
So,
a push button. Huh?
oh, go ahead. Sorry, what did you say?
I said, talk about a push button.
Oh, yeah.
As long as I desire this or that, I am not surrendered. Damn it.
Yeah. 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 Like desiring surrender won't surrender. It like, okay, so but this relates to the pillars of resistance and desire with these
Right.
okay. And so that's why it's good to recognize if we're using the masculine, feminine energy to realize if we need to inquire or surrender. Is that right? On certain
Exactly. You are rocking and rolling with this, Emily.
thank you.
But that's such a pleasure. Thank you. So before you complete this page, let me open it up and see if anyone has a question, a yes, but a comment. This is a big mama page here. Okay, very good. Then all yours to complete, Emily.
Yeah, the note at the bottom.
Yes, please.
Note, once my inquiry is complete and or once I'm fully surrendered, I'm meditating 24/7, especially while dieting, sexing, and doing yoga.
Yeah. Yeah. For those of you that have tried deception intended to practice conscious eating, what is actually being practiced is to meditate with food. That's what conscious eating is. So, very good. Moving right along.